Well, the weatherman said it's going to be good for painting today. I hope we do get the paint. We still have to strip the paint off of the Kawasaki tank and prep it correctly. We're not going to compromise that, that's for sure. The tank has been sitting out in the garage all night trying to get rid of those fumes so we don't stink out the house. And I'm looking at my little baby collection here, of little babies, and I'm like, it's just a funny thing in the morning. And I've heard so many comments about people think, you go out to the garage in the morning and talk to the motorcycles like you're a horse whisperer. No, I think a lot of people do it and they just don't admit it. Now, Jose was here yesterday. He admitted he does the same thing. He goes out and talks to the motorcycles. And I know Dallas, he rubs their noses. So come on, guys. I'm not the only wacko in the group. Now, it's funny, with the tank off of this, and I'm looking in here, and I did spend a little time cleaning it up. I think while paint is drying, I will come out here, and still a little more cleaning to do here. I noticed another thing that's very funny. No, it's just an optical illusion. It looked like one of the connectors was off. And that's the connector to the airbox. See, this is what's nice about taking a bike apart. You can see where things are rubbing and where things are going wrong and whatever. And we found a couple. We found a bad vent tube already. And you find loose bolts and whatever, but very soon we're going to be putting this bike back together into a one-piece motorcycle, and then spring is coming and we're going to be heading out. So if you live in a part of the country where you get to ride all year long, but here we really have like a 9-month riding season and a 3-month restoration season, and we're in the 4th month of restoring this. So I don't know, maybe this is not, maybe it's 5 and 7 and I don't realize it yet. But spring always does come, and that's the amazing thing, and that's what keeps me going all through the winter, is knowing that spring day will be here and we'll all be at Choppers and we'll all have our new bikes. Everybody's got a new bike this year except me. I mean, I think even Jose had a new bike. What's going on here? What's wrong with me? There's my new bike! Look at that! How lucky can a boy be? So this is how our day starts off. What do we got here on the menu for today? Cauliflower? Is that cauliflower?
Cauliflower and broccoli, and
wow.
I'm going to roast them in the oven.
Now that I'm a vegan and I never get to eat a piece of meat or a slice of pizza, it's all vegetables. So this morning, the all-vegan diet, we're going to have cauliflower and coffee. Wow, how healthy can a boy be? But this morning we have a new visitor, a mockingbird. These are new, we put suet out for the little birds and the mockingbird comes and takes it. He thinks this is birds and breakfast, not bikes and breakfast. This is birds and breakfast. What a great way to start the morning, and boy, that coffee tastes even better. I think Karen put an extra scoop of coffee in there this morning. I feel like I'm ready to go riding. The only trouble is it's 28 degrees and it's going to get warm later, but it's not warm now. Still good to be in the shop and dreaming about that summer that's just a few days away. More months. Just want to show my new computer table. Now that we have 2 computers, and John Parthia, thank you for helping me set this all up. It's working great. Now before I really get started, I always like having that cup of coffee in the morning, checking out one of the summer rides. And boy, I know Jose enjoyed the visit yesterday. He had a couple of nice muffins. Good excuse for me to have an extra cup of coffee. Boy, every part of this project, and we're looking forward to doing the tank today. We're going to try to get the tank stripped. But Karen has just told me today is one of the shorter days Miles has, and we have to take him for his tennis lesson. So I'm all excited about that. I have never been to this school where he gets his tennis lessons. And so this will be a fun day, just something a little bit different, and a little bit different always works for me. But I got to go out to that cold garage again and bring the tank in, where we can get started stripping that tank. Oh my God, it's so cold. The tank is ice cold. Yeah, I still smell gas. It just aggravates me. I wanted it to be smell free by the time I got it here. Looks like we still, and Karen's going to complain about the stink. I know that. I don't like it either. Now what I did, I used this for a pattern. Just a piece of ordinary, actually it's a Cheerios box. I'm going to put tape around that. Now what I found I have to do from time to time on this, anytime I do a tank, this area gets so full of paint dust that I like to replace it. The reason for replacing it, of course, is simple. I don't want that dust working its way out on the paint. There's always a little overspray gets in there. And one of the things I never want to do is put like Gorilla Tape or duct tape, because the paint doesn't stick to it, and all of a sudden a chunk of paint comes out. So I'm going to try to do it with this, with just a band of tape around the edge. This is like more of an experiment than anything else. Now, one of the restrictions we have here, again, I'm going to be replacing this from time to time because I don't want, and it's a valuable lesson, it's something that's really important, is when you get past the primer and the black and you have all that overspray sitting in here, and when you don't know that that's going to happen, you hit the air gun and some of that little dust goes out here. Now, this paint, actually, you don't even see it on the video, but it does have a little bit of a sparkle to it when you take it out in the sun, but we want Bentley black. Bentley black is the whole deal here. And so this will take care of business for right now. But I still need to do a couple of things. I need to decide, and I have to do a little test, whether the JASCO, there's a million kind of paint removers, aircraft paint remover, stripper, there's real inexpensive stuff I've found, and real good stuff. I've found JASCO to be good 90% of the time. We're going to see if this is part of the 90 or part of the 10. All right, this is the first product that I always try. This is available at Lowe's. This is really a good quality stripper, but it's not the top of the line. It's all full of acid and whatever they use. The aircraft quality is, this is just under that. But it is good and it works most of the time. We're going to find out. So just a couple of things that are real important. This stuff is powerful stuff, and you want to, for sure, wear extra heavy rubber gloves. Dishwasher gloves are good. I'll put a little bit of this out there. I need a big 4-inch brush. You're supposed to brush it, at least to do our test, we're supposed to brush it in one direction only. So you get plenty on a brush. And if this doesn't work, well, the party's pretty much over. We're going to have to sand it then. So I'm going to put this on, wait 15 minutes, see if it works. If it doesn't, it's not really a terrible day out there, so I should be able to get bundled up and I don't know why I'm laughing. It's a sloppy job. But somebody's got to do it. Sometimes I've done this. I did the FZR one over the sink, and it seemed to work okay, but always at the end of this, you always have to get the last little bit off with sandpaper or something. It's not going to take off where these Kawasaki stickers are for sure. I know that. I'm going to have to grind them off, sand them off. What's a good idea here if you don't do this is just put a garbage bag underneath it and roll a garbage bag up when you're done. But we're going to have to put this on. They say wait 15 minutes. Sometimes you don't even have to wait 15 minutes. So I wanted to, and so it's going to be difficult to show this in real time unless this works really quickly. As I say it, it's working so quickly. There goes the finish. So JASCO, it looks like you're going to be the king of the universe here. Now keep in mind, I have no idea. This is an 11-year-old motorcycle. And what paint they used in Japan, what thinner, it's all mumbo jumbo. But I try to make this as, you can't be smell free. This tank is unbelievable. There must be some little crevices in the tank or some little area where it just puddles up and you can't get the last little bit out, but it'll eventually, I wanted it to be done today, but got to go to war with the army you have. So I'm showing this in real time because I know there's a lot of people, at least I've watched a lot of things on TV, and I suspect there was a little photoshopping going on there. Anyway, we'll try to show a little bit of this. Don't need an up around here is going to be. Now, I wanted to get one of those gold gas caps like Glenn graciously gave me for the FZR. Only one problem, they're aluminum. And with this, the tank bag, right here is where the magnet is in the tank bag. So I'm not sure that's going to work out the way I want. But now you have seen it in real time, and I'll let the camera run, since what we're trying to do is share some information. Now, I got my paper towels handy. I know I'm going to have to sand this if for no other reason just to etch it. But Let's see if the JASCO from Lowe's comes through. Not sure it will, but I'd say that's way better than how many sheets of sandpaper I'd need to get this to come off. Now, as always, there's always going to be spots where it doesn't come off. And where it doesn't come off, pretty simple. I gotta bring a garbage can in here. That's why it's good to have a coffee can. Reapply it, but you're supposed to only put the brush. You're not supposed to, and this is what you're not supposed to do, is go back and forth. So, and I'm no expert at doing this, but I have, in reality, I have done it more than a few times. And in the days when Karen and I were restoring a lot of antique furniture, we actually had some stuff that was really nasty and worked real well, but it would burn a hole in the floor. You know, it was like nuclear waste or something, so we don't use that anymore. The JASCO's a good choice. It doesn't even have a really harsh smell. You're supposed to use it in a well-ventilated area, but anyway, rather than just let the camera run and everybody up there, you can go get a cup of coffee. We're going to let this sit about 15 minutes. But I can tell you right now, if it takes this much off, we're good to go. And we're almost down to bare metal now. And so you're probably asking, well, why doesn't he just paint right over the old paint? Well, what's going to happen? I have to put a lot of clear on this because the tank bag has magnets, and from time to time you want to rebuff it out. So I'll have extra clear on the part of this that's covered by the tank bag that you don't even see. And I would never ride without a radar detector in that tank bag. Without that tank bag, we don't go riding. That would be life-threatening. So, not to mention it would be expensive. But anyway, I'm just showing this one little spot. I hope this is good, useful information. But we're still going to have to sand this, of course, before we prime it. But we're not going to have to sand it and use up 50 sheets of sandpaper. So, I think you've seen it in real time. I hope that's useful information you could use. Now, this is funny. This usually doesn't happen. Usually when you have these stickers, you've got to grind them off. But it looks like this paint remover is strong enough. It's making the stickers. It's melting them. I should say melting the stickers here as I'm going through this. And if from this point on, this may be an hour or so, but for me, I want to get down to bare metal, and I don't want to have any extra thickness of paint. I want all the thickness of paint to be in the clear on top of that Bentley black. Now look at that, it went right down. Now the glue is not going to come off, I don't think, but the stickers themselves melted. So how completely crazy is that? I'm just grinding away at this. Now at some point in time here, and I'm going to just put some more of this on here, you just keep reapplying it, in fact. And at some point in time, you pretty much can get most of it off. Of course, you have to go back and forth a couple of times on the spots that are really difficult. But having this off will just make I'll put the etch surface on the tank. It'll be a whole lot easier. And it's funny, I remember doing this to the FZR in a sink, and just, wow. The guy that had painted the tank when I bought it had put a Harley paint job with flames on it and skulls, and Luciano will remember. Oh my God, the paint was 1/4 of an inch thick in spots. But this is coming off. I'm amazed that it takes most of the decals off, these stickers. And little by little, this is the kind of thing you just gotta be patient. Anybody that's done this kind of work knows it's just a thing of patience. And I'm trying not to make a mess in the shop, and the smell is not terrible, so at least that's in my favor. If I were to do all this sanding inside the shop, I would have to dust the whole shop. I'd be breathing this for a week. Anyway, I hope that you've gotten the idea of what's involved. Now this I'll have to sand off, I think. Most of that's, but you can always do this. Just use the last of this and just let it sit. The point with all this stuff is when you let it sit, the longer you let it sit, look at this, it's just falling right off. And like everything we do here in the shop, it's a dirty, filthy, messy job that looks terrible and awful and horrible. and sloppy and this and that and that, and at the end of the day, it's a beautiful tank. Now, as this is played out, even the decals came off, and there's still a couple little spots here. And what I've been doing is just waiting, be patient, let the paint remover do the work, and just go. If you take your time and you just keep putting that coat of paint remover on it and picking away at it, and to be honest, I don't really care how long this takes to do, because I want to start with a bare metal tank, and I don't want to be going over any of this World War II paint or whatever they used on this, and I have no idea. But I could just tell you one thing for sure, knowing paint as I do, this is the thinnest coat of paint I have ever removed. They really were good about it. This must be some secret Japanese product here, because that paint is paper thin. So the paint remover actually took off even the Kawasaki decals. Now the next thing is to just get probably a whole roll of paper towels here and wipe this endlessly, because it's going to pick up all of the residue of the paint remover. I like to get as much of that off as I can. Then I'll wipe this down with some soapy water just to get this off. That neutralizes it. And it's amazing how much of that came off. This is actually surprising to me, because a lot of times there's a lot that doesn't come off. But this looked pretty good. And I'm glad that we have some of it in real time, so that people, and again, you're going to go through a couple of rolls of paper towels on this thing, but it doesn't even matter. Now, in the old days, when I used to paint a lot of Harleys, especially in the 60s and 70s, you used to just go down to take the peanut tank and go down to the local sandblaster. Usually they were a place that made tombstones, and for $10, they just put duct tape on the cap and over the petcock and sandblast it. And one thing, when you sandblasted stuff, that paint never ever came off. That paint was forever. Now at the very end, I wiped this whole thing down, used almost a whole roll of paper towels, because I wanted to get as much of this off. And I am really being super fussy. I am not trying to do this as if, all these little edges, all these little valleys. But eventually, you can get, if you're just patient. The whole thing here is just to be patient. Now I got to take some compressed air and blow down into all these little areas where the paint remover has gone down. I don't want to have anything sitting in there. And then I'm going to retape off, once I'm done, retape off that top. And I think, well, we'll be in good shape. Always an important thing to keep this. This is an area. I don't want to have any compromises on it. I don't want the paint peeling or anything. Even though the radar detector would cover it up, I want this to be perfect. So I'm going to redo this. Just put some tape back on that. And we'll be ready to do some sanding on this and see if we can get a nice etch on it. Now, I know some people would just go and prime this. Well, you know what? This you may get away with it, but where there's a reverse curve and paint is going to tend to shrink and pull up out of the valley. The best thing right now, I want to get some, and I think I have some 180 or 220, and get this whole surface etched. Now in my sandpaper bucket, I have a lot of choices here, but luckily enough, I bought a bunch of stuff extra for the palm sander, and we'll go to the smoothest grit because we don't have any Bondo on this. So I think the 120 grit will be fine. Yeah, we got plenty here actually. Actually, I ought to try one of these soft pads too. But the whole idea here, using a palm sander, that'll do some of the work, but in the end, of course, you always have to do the last little bit by hand. Now, since there's no Bondo on this, I don't see any dents or anything. I wanted to show one little thing in real time, of course. Let's see if I can do that efficiently. And this would be the surface. I don't think paint would stick too well. This is the surface it'll stick to very well. So I'm going to just, using the palm sander, just go at the whole thing. Okay, we got the rough edge done on that. Now the last thing is I'm going to take some I guess some 220 or something and just go over this whole thing by hand. But we've got plenty of nice little scratches in there, and you can see some of that. That's going to result in, I guess, some, I hope some good paint adhesion. And as always in the end, it's that hand sanding that just will take the bulk of the time, and everything will get sanded. Now, I'm not going to sand this wet at all. I want everything to be dry. I'll just use a little more sandpaper and throw it away. Simple reason, I don't want to induce any rust into this. And it's a critical thing when you do a paint remover job like this to get the primer on as soon as possible. If I were to put this away and work on it next week, I'd already have spots where this is rusty. Now you think that wouldn't be possible because the steel they use when they make a gas tank is rust resistant, but the word is resistant, not proof. And that's why tanks definitely do rust if you leave them empty or you fill them with water or you leave it out in the rain or whatever. But I've got time now. I'm going to detail this out. I've got to put some tape on some of these backmasking things. And it's actually warmed up way over freezing. It's probably 38, 40 degrees right now. So I really would like to get some paint on this and take advantage of the fact we have a paintable day, because this time of year they come and go like the wind. You never can tell when you're going to get 2 days in a row. So we actually spent the majority of this day getting the paint off of this tank, and this is the final step. By hand, I want to feel anything, and this is a John Pathia trick that he taught me with the gloves. And the gloves let you feel even the slightest little imperfection, because I want to get too close to primer on this, and I don't want to have to sand it if possible. And there's just no substitute for just detailing it out, taking your time. Anything that we're going to see, the parts that are not visible, not really going to spend the whole day on them. But this tank has such a nice, the nice shape for the matches the whole bike. And by painting it the gloss black with a highly buffed out finish, you know, those gold Kawasaki decals from Thomas Luciano, I think, wow, that's going to accent it. But if there's a big problem, and there's no Bondo at all in this tank, wow, it should be really nice when it's done. Now the last step is get some prep oil on this. And even while I'm doing this, I'm feeling for anything that feels a little rough or just not perfect, because I can change it a lot easier under the primer than sanding the primer. And I think we're real close to having this the way we want it. And it's definitely warming up out there. It might even be 40 degrees here. I'm not sure why I'm not going for a ride today. Oh, I gotta take the baby to tennis lessons. And my grandson always comes first, that's for sure. That's what he says anyway. Anyway, we are ready. We are ready. Believe it or not, this morning this motorcycle had some 11-year-old mysterious paint from Japan that was no match for the JASCO. The JASCO won that battle. Wow. So we are ready. Let me shake up the primer and get some primer on this. Now, anytime I'm down to raw metal, there's two things: self-etching primer, and the second thing, get the primer on the first coat right away, and don't leave any of that raw metal exposed.
Now, it's perfect for painting except for the fact the wind is howling. So I've tried to get this up against the house and just kind of hope that this wind isn't terrible anyway. I guess we're going to find out. Always extra shaking. Oh, it's hard to believe this morning. This was not like it is now. And who knows what that Kawasaki paint was or is or whatever. Now you got to get the bottom of this. And I want light coats. I don't want any thick, any big globby coats on here. The idea would be to try to get 2 thin coats if possible. Let's see if this is going to be a little tricky to get this balanced up here, I know. Let's see, is that going to do it? Yeah, that's right. Thin coats. Thin. And I have used the Rust-Oleum and Duplicolor both with relatively good results with both. So I'm not worried. I know they both sand out pretty well. And about the only mistake you can really make is to try to cover with one big wet coat and then get runs and drips and everything. That'll dry in about 5 minutes and we'll put the next coat on. Now that went on great, and you can tell when you take your time, let each coat dry in between. Yeah, that's drying up beautifully. Well, we took a good half hour for lunch and the compressor's building up. I'm going to try to get some black on there, get the first coat of black. The primer dried up absolutely beautifully and it's over 40 degrees right now. A perfect day for painting. Find a way to block the wind here, but I'm not sure it's working as well as I think it is. In a corner like this doesn't really solve the problem. I'm waiting for the wind to kind of die down in bursts. If that's going to work, we'll have to find out. Again, we're going to try to get on 2 light coats if possible. Okay, the first coat is on and it doesn't look like there's any spot that I missed. Well, you never know that. This paint is not going to dry shiny right now, but the second coat will make it just a little bit shinier. And I'm not looking for shine anyway. What I want is just that Bentley flat black with no sparkles at all in it. Well, in the course of this day, we got 2 coats of black, 2 coats of primer. Everything's drying up like jewelry here. Wow. I'm very impressed how nice this worked out. And we have been able to use Karen just said it's 45 degrees. No wonder it feels warm out here. Wow. We really took advantage of this day. Always nice when we can beat the weatherman just a little bit. And that's going to dry up in the garage. What I did, I took that piece of cardboard off the top because I wanted that smell. There's not much, there can't be much left in there, but it's annoying. Anyway, as when I come out in the morning and I rub the noses and well, you know the whole routine. It's just part of my routine and part of what I enjoy about motorcycling. Before I head out to get Miles, I wanted to mention something. Chris called while I was making this video, and she was so excited that I have these. I have them too, these ones from the Sport Bike Club, because she's on them and she wants to see what she looked like when she was 12 years old. To be honest, I don't even know what year this is, but boy, we're all a lot younger. Now, I wanted to just mention this because just as a point of interest, John Pothia has been helping me with the new Filmora program that we have and the new computer, and we have these loaded. I'm just waiting for a gap in time that I can do the editing. Right now, time is kind of short. A lot of stuff going on here. Gotta eat more vegetables. But anyway, don't worry. We have the discs, and there'll be some funny stuff, I'm guessing, within a week. Anyway, we're gonna head out. The video's not over. Well, my day is not over anyway. I still have about a 5-hour window to hang out with Miles, and that's the best part of the day. So this is where Miles goes for his tennis lesson, and this is something he really enjoys. He likes this even more than karate. Would this be a great place to store my motorcycle collection? The place is enormous. Oh, very good. Whoa!
Follow through, so in the back end all the way. Because when you follow 4, go get it, yeah, 5, come on, 7, you got it, oh yeah, 8, hello.
So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for taking tennis lessons. Thanks for watching.